Chapter 962. Whoosh! Wang Yuer flashed and landed in front of Qin Feiyang's private room. Then she walked in slowly and closed the door. Steward Pang, who is she? Someone in the hall immediately asked. Pang Su said in a deep voice. She's someone you can't afford to offend. Can't afford to offend? Someone was surprised. Pang Su said. Have you heard of the charm technique? Charm technique. I know, she's Wang Yuer. Yes, it's her. It's said that she has been in seclusion for more than 100 years. Many people have only heard of her, but have never seen her. The hall immediately became lively, and everyone was talking about it. However, there was dead silence in the private room. Qin Feiyang sat in front of the tea table and didn't entertain Wang Yuer. He just tasted the food by himself. Wang Yuer sat opposite Qin Feiyang and looked at him curiously in silence. I can't figure it out. Suddenly, Qin Feiyang shook his head. What can't you figure out? Wang Yuer was stunned and asked. Qin Feiyang looked up at her and said lightly, Elder Wang is such a good person. How can he have a granddaughter like you? Wang Yuer's red lips curled up. She actually got up and sat directly on Qin Feiyang's thighs. Her two lotus-like arms hooked around Qin Feiyang's shoulders. She smiled and said, Then tell me, how am I? Qin Feiyang didn't expect Wang Yuer's behavior to be so bold. Her charming body fragrance rushed to his face. The majestic twin peaks were right in front of him. Qin Feiyang only felt that the blood in his body was spurting, and his mouth was dry. At this time, Wang Yuer leaned forward and clung to Qin Feiyang's chest. Her red lips moved to Qin Feiyang's ear and she whispered, Tell me quickly. This posture was like a bunch of couples in love, leaning on each other, and being as intimate as possible. If it were other men, they would have lost control long ago. Qin Feiyang was also feeling very uncomfortable at this moment. He was desperately suppressing the evil fire in his heart. It was not because his willpower was not good enough, but because Wang Yuer's charm technique was too terrifying. It could not penetrate his body at all. Don't you want to be intimate with Big Sister now? Don't be shy. If you want to, just say it. The bedroom is just next door. I can satisfy you at any time. Wang Yuer got up from Qin Feiyang's body. As she spoke, she stretched out her jade-like hands and gently rubbed Qin Feiyang's chest. Qin Feiyang was about to collapse. This woman was simply a little vixen who wanted people's lives. He finally understood why young master Hao was so afraid of Wang Yuer. In the face of such teasing, no matter how strong a person's willpower was, they would still collapse. Be rational, you must be rational. Qin Feiyang fiercely bit his tongue. The sharp pain finally woke him up. He immediately pushed Wang Yuer away and said with a frown, As a woman, you should know how to respect yourself. However, before he finished speaking, Wang Yuer sat on his lap again. And her movements were even more frivolous than before. She directly grabbed Qin Feiyang's hand and pressed it against her chest. Qin Feiyang was so shocked that he broke out in a cold sweat. He said angrily, What on earth do you want to do? Wang Yuer said with a charming smile, Silly brother, can't you see it? I want to be your woman. I already have a sweetheart. Qin Feiyang's face darkened. If he believed this kind of nonsense, then he would really be a fool. You have a sweetheart? Wang Yuer's face froze, and then she said with a smile, Is she prettier than me? Of course she is. Qin Feiyang said. Are you sure there is a woman more beautiful than me in this world? As Wang Yuer spoke, her temperament suddenly changed. Her whole body was full of charm. In the past, she was an irresistible calamity, but now, she was a beauty that could drive anyone crazy. Even the air in the private room had undergone a subtle change, and it was filled with a kind of uncontrollable emotion. She had activated the real charming skill, and in an instant, Qin Feiyang's eyes became dull. Then, his eyes were bloodshot and filled with a sense of possessiveness. Then he raised his hands uncontrollably and held Wang Yuer's slender waist tightly. He even raised his head and kissed Wang Yuer's red lips. Seeing this, Wang Yuer's face changed slightly. Obviously, she was frightened by Qin Feiyang's move. But soon, she calmed down again, reached out to seal Qin Feiyang's mouth and chuckled. Answer me first, who is more beautiful? You are more beautiful, Qin Feiyang said without hesitation. At this moment, under the urging of the charming skill, his reason had been drowned by the evil fire in his heart. After that, he suddenly stood up, held Wang Yuer in his arms, and walked toward the bedroom. What are you doing? Let me go. Wang Yuer's face turned pale, and she quickly struggled. In fact, she just wanted to tease Qin Feiyang. She didn't really want to do anything. Besides, although she had practiced the charming skill and had teased many people, she had always kept her chastity. And when she had teased others before, she had never activated the charming skill, so she had never faced such a situation. And this was the first time. So when she saw Qin Feiyang was serious, she couldn't help but panic. But no matter how hard she struggled, Qin Feiyang didn't let go, as if he had been possessed. After entering the bedroom, Qin Feiyang directly laid her on the bed, and then violently tore Wang Yuer's clothes apart. Her jade-like delicate body was immediately exposed to Qin Feiyang's sight. Ancestor Mu, I have already dispersed the charming skill. Wake up. Wang Yuer completely panicked and was extremely anxious. However, Qin Feiyang still turned a deaf ear to her. He suddenly pounced on Wang Yuer's body and instantly blocked Wang Yuer's red lips. Wang Yuer was stunned and stared blankly at Qin Feiyang, who had fallen into madness. She was kissed by force. Bastard, get out of here. Immediately afterward, she roared and tears came out. Originally, with her cultivation, she could easily shake off Qin Feiyang. But she, who had never experienced anything, was at a loss and completely forgot the gap between her and Qin Feiyang. Especially this kiss, she was completely at a loss. Qin Feiyang didn't show any signs of waking up. He firmly pressed her hand and crazily demanded. But suddenly, there was a heart-wrenching pain in his heart, which made him unable to help but let out a beast-like howl. And there was a burst of strong light in his heart. This was the concentric knot. As long as he had intimate contact with other women, the concentric knot would act up. Finally, the exuberant evil fire in his heart disappeared, and the lost reason also recovered. What am I doing? Looking at the tearful Wang Yuer under him, he couldn't wait to slap himself in the face. But in addition to being annoyed, he also felt a little happy. This woman should be taught a lesson. Otherwise, she would think that all the men in the world could be played by her. Qin Feiyang's eyes flashed, and he reached out to stroke Wang Yuer's black hair lovingly. He smiled and said, "Don't be afraid, I will be very gentle." After that, he lowered his head and kissed Wang Yuer's red lips. Bang! But at this moment, the door of the private room was kicked open, and a group of waiters rushed in aggressively. Qin Feiyang and Wang Yuer suddenly froze. Looking at the messy bed and the ambiguous scene, the group of waiters also froze. They heard Qin Feiyang's miserable howl, and thought that something bad had happened, so they ran in. However, they never expected that it would be such a situation. Young Master Mu, miss you were you. Pang Su also ran into the private room in a hurry, his face full of worry. But when he saw Qin Feiyang and Wang Yuer sticking together intimately, he was dumbfounded on the spot. There was dead silence in the private room. Get out! Suddenly, Qin Feiyang and Wang Yuer shouted at the same time. I'm sorry to disturb you. Please continue. What are you looking at? Get out of here. Pang Su shivered and hurriedly apologized to the two of them. Then he roared at the waiters, turned around, and ran out in a hurry. Bang! The door was also closed. The room fell silent again. The two of them maintained their previous posture, staring at each other with their big eyes. All of a sudden, Qin Feiyang gave an evil smile and said, "Well, looking at you from such a close distance, you are really quite charming." Wang Yuer couldn't help blushing. Qin Feiyang asked again with a smile, "Tell me honestly, do you really want to be my woman?" Wang Yuer shook her head hard. "Don't lie. If you don't want to be my woman, why don't you blow me away? After all, with your strength, it's too easy to blow me away. Why don't we do it for real? It's also my first time. You won't lose out." Qin Feiyang smiled evilly. "Yes, my cultivation is stronger than his. Why should I be afraid of him?" After being reminded by Qin Feiyang, Wang Yuer finally remembered the gap between their cultivation. At this moment, a cold light flashed in her eyes, and she kicked Qin Feiyang's lower abdomen. Hee. Qin Feiyang grinned. He had expected that Wang Yuer would do this. He got up at lightning speed and retreated quickly. "Bastard, I'm going to kill you." Wang Yuer immediately got up and pounced on Qin Feiyang with threatening gestures. But for this, Qin Feiyang was not nervous at all. Instead, he crossed his arms and looked at Wang Yuer's body evilly, saying, "It's exposed." Wang Yuer's delicate body stiffened. She hurriedly grabbed the blanket and wrapped it around her body. Not daring to move anymore, she stared fiercely at Qin Feiyang. And gradually, her eyes became misty as she squatted on the bed and curled up. Her face was filled with grievance. Seeing this, Qin Feiyang's heart softened. This woman looked frivolous, but she was actually quite weak and innocent. Otherwise, she wouldn't have been so flustered when he forcefully kissed her. He walked forward with a trace of apology on his face and said, "I'm sorry, it was my fault just now. I apologize to you. Don't play like this in the future. You'll bring trouble to yourself." "What's the use of apologizing? I'm afraid the people of the Dragon Phoenix Pavilion already know about this. How do you want me to face others in the future?" Wang Yue glared at him. "How can you blame me for this? If you didn't tease me, would all of this have happened?" Qin Feiyang said. Wang Yue had nothing to say, and could only glare at Qin Feiyang angrily. "Sigh." Qin Feiyang sighed softly and said, "All right, I'll go out and explain it to them right away." With that, he got off the bed, tidied up his clothes and walked towards the door. "Stop," Wang Yue hurriedly said. "What's wrong now?" Qin Feiyang raised his eyebrows. "So many people saw it. If you go out and explain now, wouldn't it be more conspicuous?" Wang Yue said. Qin Feiyang frowned. What Wang Yue said did make sense. In this situation, explaining was equivalent to covering it up. It was useless. He asked, "Then what do you think we should do?" "You go out first. I want to put on my clothes." Wang Yue stared at him warily. "I've already seen it all. What's there to hide?" Qin Feiyang shook his head and turned to enter the tea room. He sat in front of the tea table and made tea with his back facing Wang Yue. Chapter 963. Pervert, I'll teach you a lesson sooner or later. She glared at Qin Feiyang fiercely, then found the Qianquan bag on the messy bed, and ran into the bathroom, as if running for her life. A moment later, she finally came out of the bathroom. Hearing the footsteps, Qin Feiyang turned his head and looked at her. There was a flash of surprise in his eyes. At this moment, Wang Yue was wearing a snow-white floor-length dress, which was spotless. Her black hair was like a waterfall, exuding a faint fragrance. Her previous charm had also vanished without a trace. Instead, she looked even more pure, making her seem even more charming. "Pervert, pervert, bastard." Seeing Qin Feiyang staring at her, Wang Yuer's face suddenly showed a trace of disdain. Qin Feiyang was quite speechless, who began to tease him as soon as she came in. Now she called him a pervert. It was natural for women to be unreasonable in front of men. But there should be a limit, right? Wang Yue sat opposite Qin Feiyang and said, "Tell me, how are you going to compensate me for my loss?" Qin Feiyang was stunned and then said, "Are you kidding me? It seems that I'm the one who suffered a loss today, right?" "You suffered a loss?" Wang Yue suddenly stood up, and her eyes were full of anger. Qin Feiyang waved his hand and said indifferently, "Don't look like you're going to eat me alive. This matter was caused by you in the first place. If we're talking about compensation, it should be you compensating me." "Bastard, are you still a man?" Wang Yue said angrily. He took advantage of her, and actually wanted her to compensate. That was too much. "Whether I'm a man or not, you'll know after you try," Qin Feiyang said with an evil smile. Wang Yue was so angry that her body trembled, and she gritted her teeth. "Okay, it's already happened. What's the use of saying this? The most important thing is to think about how to explain it to everyone," Qin Feiyang said. She heard about it. Wang Yue slumped in the chair and sighed. "It's hard to explain, so we'll just let everyone misunderstand?" Qin Feiyang asked. "What else do you think we should do?" Wang Yue glared at him angrily. "There's no other way. But I'm quite worried." Qin Feiyang frowned. "You're a man. What are you worried about?" Wang Yue sneered. "I'm worried about your grandfather and your parents. If they find out about this, regardless of whether it's right or wrong, they'll definitely come after me." Qin Feiyang rubbed his forehead. This woman was really a troublemaker. "You deserve it." Wang Yue snorted coldly. "Unreasonable indeed. Qin Feiyang shook his head and said, I'm not in the mood to bicker with you right now. Tell me, what do I have to do for you to give me the 10th part of the soul refining technique? You want the soul refining technique now? Do you think it's possible? I'm telling you this isn't over. Qin Feiyang said. This, Wu Yang was dumbfounded. The third point is not difficult, but with the 7th grade alchemy fire in Mujia's lair, it is impossible to do. Whether you can do it or not is your business. I just want the result. Qin Feiyang said. Well, I will try my best. Wu Yang gritted his teeth and nodded, because he knew that he had no choice but to agree. Then I will wait for your good news. In addition, go and fake a scene of Wu Shan being killed. Qin Feiyang said. Brother Shan is dead? Wu Yang's face suddenly changed. Yes, I killed him. Only blame him for being stupid and overconfident to come and attack me. Qin Feiyang smiled coldly, and then his hands formed a seal. A seal of slavery appeared in an instant, and merged into Wu Yang's head. He did this just in case. After the seal of slavery was completed, he did not continue to stay and immediately opened the portal to leave. Even Brother Shan was killed. Wu Yang took a long time to recover and sadly said, Brother Shan, why are you so stupid? Of all people to mess with, you had to provoke this evil star. Now you dragged me down with you. In addition to the sadness, he also began to resent Wu Shan. If it weren't for Wu Shan's repeated instigation, he wouldn't have touched this blood pill. It's you who put me in this situation. I can only let you down. After a while, Wu Yang muttered to himself as he opened a teleportation gate and walked in. Late that night, Wu Yang returned to the main tower with blood all over his body. Both of his arms were broken. And he also brought back a piece of news that shocked countless people. Wu Shan was dead. The specific situation was that he and Wu Shan went to the mountains to hunt in the afternoon, and when they were about to return in the evening, they were suddenly attacked by a saint beast. Wu Shan was killed on the spot, and even his body was swallowed by the saint beast. He himself had only managed to escape with great difficulty, and because of the relationship between Wu Yang and Wu Shan, after hearing this news, whether it was the people of the main tower or the people of the Qilin tribe, they didn't have any doubts. Of course, after all, Wu Shan was the king of the second tower. His death was a great loss to the Qilin tribe and the main tower. They all felt angry and regretful. However, the tragedy had already happened, so they could only accept it. Only Qin Feiyang knew that this was a lie made up by Wu Yang. No, there was another person who knew. This person was young Master Hao. Deep in the main tower, in a certain mountain stream, there was an exquisite courtyard. Young Master Hao sat alone in the garden, staring at the night sky, his eyes full of confusion. During the day, Qin Feiyang told him that Wu Shan died in the White Tiger Mountain Range, and was killed by Qin Feiyang. Why did it change at night? What was hidden in this? Was Qin Feiyang lying, or was Wu Yang lying? Similarly, in the depths of the main tower, in a secluded place, there was also a courtyard. At this moment, in the courtyard, it was brightly lit. In the hall of the attic, an old man in white sat in front of the tea table, staring at the bubbling teapot. His hands were clenched together, and his old face was full of anger. It was Elder Wang. On the left and right sides of the tea table, there was a middle-aged couple sitting. Both of them looked middle-aged. The man was more than 1.8 meters, neither fat nor thin, wearing a purple robe. His two thick eyebrows were neatly trimmed, like two sharp swords exuding a fierce aura. The middle-aged woman was also wearing a purple robe, with a gorgeous jade hairpin on her head. Her long hair was tied up high, and she looked graceful and elegant, with an extraordinary temperament. The two of them were also silent, and their faces were quite ugly. In the hall, except for the sound of boiling tea, there was a dead silence. At the same time, a woman in white was hiding outside the door. It was none other than Wang Yuer. She stuck her head out, glancing at Elder Wang, and the other two from time to time, looking extremely nervous. Bastard. Time passed by slowly. Suddenly, Elder Wang slammed his palm on the coffee table, and the boiling teapot was immediately sent flying. It rolled onto the floor and shattered into pieces with a loud crack. Wang Yuer's delicate body trembled, and she immediately retracted her head, her face full of panic. Seeing Elder Wang flip out, the middle-aged couple was also a little nervous and worried. Whoosh! Suddenly, Elder Wang looked at the door with an aggressive gaze and shouted, "How long are you going to stand outside? Get your ass in here. Bastard, it's all your fault." Wang Yuer cursed secretly. The person she was cursing was naturally Qin Feiyang. Chapter 965. Look up at me. Wang Su shouted coldly. He usually only doted on Wang Yuer, and was even afraid that she would melt in his hands. But at this moment, he just couldn't control the anger in his heart. Wang Yuer's delicate body trembled as she raised her head, and looked at Wang Su pitifully. 2 drops of tears were squeezed out of her eyes. "Don't pretend to be pitiful." Wang Su ignored her and said in a deep voice, "Do you know how much this matter has affected us?" "I know." Wang Yuer nodded and immediately explained. "But grandfather, I was forced. It's all that bastard Ancestor Mu's fault." "Forced? Ancestor Mu is just a 1-star battle saint. How can he force you, a 9-star battle saint, to do such a thing? Do you think I'm stupid?" Cough cough. Wang Su became angrier as he spoke and finally coughed violently. "Father, don't be angry. It's not good for your health to be angry." The purple-clothed woman immediately stood up and gently patted Wang Su's back. At the same time, she gave Wang Yuer a look. Wang Yuer looked at the purple-clothed woman and then lowered her head, saying, "Grandfather, I was wrong. I won't dare to do it again." Wang Su took a deep breath and gestured for the purple-clothed woman to leave. The purple-clothed woman looked at Wang Yuer helplessly and returned to her seat, remaining silent. Wang Su looked at Wang Yuer for a moment and suddenly pointed to the middle-aged couple. He looked at Wang Yuer and said, "Your parents are high-ranking people in the main pagoda. As for your grandfather, although I'm old, I'm still a person of virtue and prestige. Now that you've done such a thing, where are our faces? Yes, we've always warned you not to use charm unless it's a last resort. Why didn't you listen?" The purple-clothed man next to him also sighed. "Father, mother, grandfather, I really didn't mean it. Please forgive me." Wang Yuer looked at the 3 of them and lowered her head. In fact, she also felt wronged. Not only was she taken advantage of, but she also came back to be scolded. What was going on? Looking at Wang Yuer's appearance, the purple-clothed woman couldn't bear it. She turned to Wang Su and said with a smile, "Father, you see, it has already happened. Yuer also knows her mistake. Please calm down and don't scold her." "Scolding her and your heart ached? I'm telling you, I still want to beat her up. And you guys, if it weren't for you guys spoiling her and accommodating her in everything, would she have dared to do such a thing today?" Wang Su vented his anger on the middle-aged couple. "Father, that's not right. Aren't you the one who usually dotes on you the most? Why are you blaming us now?" The purple-clothed woman was displeased. "What is it? Can't I say that you are?" Wang Su was fuming with rage. "Yes, but..." The purple-robed woman nodded. But before she could finish her sentence, the purple-robed man beside her transmitted his voice. "Can't you see that the old man is in a fit of anger? Stop talking so much." The purple-clothed woman's lips moved, but she chose to remain silent in the end. Then the purple-robed man looked at Wang Su and said with a smile, "Father, now that things have come to this, it's useless to say more. It's better to think about how to solve this problem." After a moment of silence, Wang Su pointed to the door and said to Wang Yuer, "Stand outside. Go quickly. Don't make your grandfather angry again." The middle-aged couple immediately sent voice transmissions to Wang Yuer. Wang Yuer turned around and walked out aggrievedly. Wang Su waved his sleeve, and the door closed with a bang. Wang Yuer put her ear on the door, wanting to hear what the 3 of them were talking about. But there was no sound from inside. Obviously, Wang Su and the other 2 in the room were secretly communicating. A moment later, Wang Su finally walked out and glanced at Wang Yuer, saying in a deep voice, "I'm going to meet the chief pagoda master, and from now on, without my order, you're not allowed to leave this place." "Yes." Wang Yuer lowered her head and replied like an obedient child. "Humph." Wang Su snorted and turned into a stream of light, disappearing into the night sky at lightning speed. The middle-aged couple also did the same. "Father, mother, what's the result of your discussion with Grandpa?" Wang Yu quickly looked at the two of them and asked. Sigh. The two of them looked at Wang Yu deeply and finally let out a long sigh. Without saying anything, they flew into the sky and left. How can this be? I'm the victim. Shouldn't you ask for my opinion first? Wang Yu stomped her feet in anger. Sister, are you sure you're the victim? Suddenly, a wicked laugh sounded, and outside the courtyard, a young man in white walked out of the darkness. It was young Master Hao. Brat, what did you say? Wang Yu looked at young Master Hao and suddenly frowned. Young Master Hao flashed and landed beside Wang Yu, smiling slyly. Sister, how do you feel? How do I feel? Wang Yu was stunned and asked. Young Master Hao said. Nonsense, of course it's the feeling of being intimate with Ancestor Mu. Are you courting death? Wang Yu stretched out her claws and grabbed young Master Hao's face. Ouch, ouch, ouch. Let go. For a time, young Master Hao howled miserably. Humph. Wang Yu snorted and let go of her hand. Staring at the night sky, she said, This bastard, I will not let him go. Alas. Brother Mu, you're on your own now. Looking at Wang Yu's fierce look, young Master Hao couldn't help shaking his head and sighing, muttering secretly. By the way, what are you doing here? Don't tell me you're here to laugh at me. Wang Yu turned to look at young Master Hao, and the threat in her eyes was not concealed at all. You're my most respected sister. How can I be here to laugh at you? Young Master Hao said righteously. In fact, he was here to laugh at her. Then what are you here for? Wang Yu frowned. Young Master Hao sneakily glanced around and said with a low voice, I'm here to give you advice. Wang Yu's eyes lit up, and she said, Tell me. Ancestor Mu, this bastard, how dare he bully you? We can't let him go easily. So I think it's best to kill him directly. Young Master Hao said indignantly, but there was a hint of ridicule in his eyes. How dare you trick me? You're courting death. Wang Yu's veins suddenly bulged, and she showed a fierce look. Seeing that the situation was not good, young Master Hao decisively slipped away and laughed without looking back. Sister, this is called evil people will be dealt with by evil people. Let's see if you dare to tease us in the future. Then he quickly disappeared into the night sky, leaving Wang Yu standing alone at the door sulking. In the sky, the waning moon hung high in the sky, and the moonlight was hazy. Whoosh! Somewhere in the sacred ground, there was a tall ancient tower. From afar, it looked like an ancient fierce beast lurking in the night. This was the sacred tower. Suddenly, with a piercing sound, a purple stream of light rushed out of the sacred tower and broke through the sky like lightning. At the same time, in the alchemy room of the first tower, Qin Feiyang sat cross-legged in the cultivation room, closing his eyes and meditating. Without the need to copy the 6-word formula, coupled with the talent given to him by the purple gold dragon blood, his cultivation speed was faster than before. So he didn't want to waste a minute or a second. Besides, there were still 2 years before the miracle would open, and he didn't have time to waste. Time passed by. Dong! Suddenly, there was a knock on the door. Qin Feiyang opened his eyes, and there was a trace of suspicion in his eyes. Who would come to find him in the middle of the night? He got up and walked to the door. When he opened the stone door, a young man in purple suddenly entered his sight. Qin Feiyang's pupils shrank. This person was tall, and his face was like jade. His eyes were like stars, and his thick black hair was like a sharp sword. He exuded an astonishing aura. The most important thing was that this person's aura was very strong, and Qin Feiyang couldn't see through it at all. Without waiting for Qin Feiyang to speak, the young man in purple walked into the alchemy room uninvited. You are? Qin Feiyang frowned. Close the door. The young man in purple didn't answer, nor did he look back at Qin Feiyang. Whether it was his tone or his posture, he was incomparably cold and arrogant. This is my alchemy room. Qin Feiyang raised his eyebrows and said coldly. As long as this person was a little polite, he would welcome him with a smile. But this person was too rude. As for those who were rude and unreasonable, he had never been kind to them. The young man in purple slowly turned around and looked at Qin Feiyang with an aggressive gaze. If there's nothing else, please leave. Qin Feiyang said indifferently, turning a blind eye. You're really as arrogant and overbearing as the rumors say. But I'm not just anyone. You'd better be sensible, and close the door immediately. The young man in purple smiled coldly with a commanding tone. Haha. Qin Feiyang laughed and said, Who do you think you are ordering me around here? Then listen carefully. I'm one of the 3 kings of the Holy Tower, the direct disciple of the Holy Tower Master, and the son of the Qilin tribe's leader Wu Jian. And your alchemy room number 10 is the leftover one. Now tell me, do I have the right to order you around? Wu Jian said proudly. Qin Feiyang was extremely surprised. He didn't expect this person to have so many identities. The key was that each identity was scary enough. The king of the Holy Tower, the disciple of the Holy Tower Master, the son of the Qilin tribe's leader. This person was truly loved and doted on by everyone. Wait a minute. The son of the Qilin tribe? Qin Feiyang's heart trembled and said, Who is Wu Xiao to you? Wu Jian said, He's my younger brother. I see. Qin Feiyang came to a realization and said, As far as I know, your younger brother was killed by Qin Feiyang. Since you're so strong, why don't you go find Qin Feiyang for revenge? Why come here to intimidate me? Or did Wu Jian already know his true identity? Hearing these words, Wu Jian's eyes flashed with killing intent and said, You don't need to say this. Qin Feiyang, that ant, will die under my sword sooner or later. Then I'll wait and see. Qin Feiyang chuckled. At the same time, he was secretly relieved. Wu Jian's words were enough to show that he didn't know he was Qin Feiyang. Qin Feiyang closed the stone door and said indifferently, Speak. Why are you looking for me? Leave the main tower immediately. No, leave the central divine kingdom, and never show yourself in front of Wang Yuer again. Wu Jian said. Qin Feiyang was stunned. So it was because of Wang Yuer. He looked at Wu Jian's eyes, and found that when Wu Jian mentioned Wang Yuer, there was a trace of admiration in his eyes. He immediately understood. Chapter 966. I'm really a fool. Qin Feiyang sighed. Because of Wang Yuer's nonsense, not only did he have to worry about Wang Su and Wang Yuer's parents, but he also attracted such a powerful love rival. The key was that he couldn't explain it clearly, because no one would believe him even if he did. What a headache. Seeing that Qin Feiyang didn't speak for a long time, Wu Jian raised his brows slightly and said, As long as you're willing to leave, I can satisfy any of your conditions. And Qin Feiyang looked up at Wu Yan and frowned. Who do you think I am? Stop pretending. Didn't you take a fancy to Wang Yuer, because of her family background? Wu Jian sneered. Qin Feiyang shook his head and laughed. It seemed that this person was not only arrogant, but also self-righteous. I don't want to waste too much time on you. Tell me, what do you want? Wu Jian said. That gaze was as if he was looking at an insignificant and pitiful worm. What do I want? Qin Feiyang smiled coldly and said, I want to ask you, Wang Yuer is already my woman now. Don't you dislike her? Damn it. You and her have really. Wu Jian was furious. He took a step forward and grabbed Qin Feiyang's clothes on his chest. His eyes were as sharp as a blade. Yes. We are already in the Longfeng house. What's done can't be undone. Maybe soon, she will be pregnant with my child. Qin Feiyang didn't resist and nodded with a smile. I'm going to kill you. Wu Jian's face was ferocious and murderous. Do you dare? We are now in the main tower. Moreover, I will soon become the direct disciple of the main tower master. Killing me is destroying your own future. Qin Feiyang sneered. Wu Jian's pupils constricted as he looked coldly at Qin Feiyang. But in the end, he let go and shook his head. As long as I can get her, I don't care about anything. Qin Feiyang was surprised. He had already said so, but this person actually accepted it. Wasn't this person too magnanimous? Qin Feiyang's eyes flashed and he teased. What if Yuer really has my child? Who do you think you are? What right do you have to call her so intimately? Wu Jian roared angrily, his hands tightly clenched together. It was obvious that his patience had been ground to the limit. First of all, I'm Yuer's man. Naturally, I can call her that. Secondly, I'm not interested in the things you mentioned. In the end, you really are a hypocrite. Do you really think I'll believe that you like Yuer? You're just interested in her family background and want to use her to achieve your ambitions. Thus, to people like you, I only want to say one thing. Scram as far as you can, and don't bother me. The door is right there. I won't be seeing you out. Qin Feiyang waved his hand and opened the stone door. He looked at Wu Jian with disgust. All right, just you wait. Even if you become the chief pagoda master's disciple, I won't let you have an easy time. Wu Jian looked at him gloomily. In the end, he flicked his sleeves and left after saying some harsh words. Be careful, there are too many stairs. Don't trip. Qin Feiyang waved his hand and smiled brightly. Wu Jian's face was terrifyingly gloomy. Bam! Qin Feiyang waved his hand again, and the stone door closed. His eyes also turned cold. This person definitely wouldn't let it go. It seemed that he had to find an opportunity to strike first. He pondered for a while. He took out the image crystal. In a short while, Yan Wei's shadow appeared. Qin Feiyang said, keep an eye on Wu Jian. If there's a chance, get rid of him. Wu Jian. Yan Wei was suspicious. Qin Feiyang said, you can ask Li He about his detailed information. In short, I don't want to see him again. Okay. Yan Wei nodded. After turning off the image crystal, he immediately took action. What's so great about being a king of the sacred tower? Since you dare to come looking for trouble, you still have to die. Qin Feiyang smiled coldly. He also put away the image crystal and entered the cultivation room. He took out a battle chi pill and continued to cultivate with his eyes closed. The next day, early in the morning, a group of deacon elders were busy in the square of the Pill Pagoda. Some people were decorating. Some people were placing chairs and tea tables. Gongsun Bei was also there, but he didn't do anything. He was just supervising. Less than half an hour later, the originally simple square became magnificent. There was a layer of red carpet on the ground. In front of the square, there was a high platform with a golden statue. It was incomparably imposing. What are they doing? The disciples passing by couldn't help but stop and look at the deacon elders suspiciously. They should be preparing for the ceremony. Someone whispered, Sai, this ancestor Mu is really lucky. How long has it been since he entered the Pill Pagoda? He was actually valued by the Pill Pagoda master, and even captured the heart of Elder Wang's granddaughter. Why don't I have such luck? Someone sighed, his face full of envy. As time passed breath by breath, more and more people gathered. After the deacon elders were properly arranged, they took their places under the command of Gongsun Bei to maintain order. As for Gongsun Bei, he stayed on the high platform. Gradually, the sun rose from the horizon. The sunlight shone on the earth, reviving everything and making them full of vitality. The leader of the Qilin tribe has come with the high priest to congratulate. Suddenly, accompanied by a loud voice, a middle-aged man descended on the square. Beside him was a black-clothed old man. Both of them had a Qilin pattern on their clothes. Gongsun Bei stood on the high platform and looked at the two with a smile. You two are really early. Please sit. How dare we neglect the Pill Pagoda Master's disciple ceremony? Before his voice faded, two more people appeared out of thin air. They were also a middle-aged man and an old man, but the difference was that on their clothes, there was a small golden sword pattern embroidered on their clothes. They are from the Immortal Sword tribe. It seems that this time, the people from the top 10 tribes will come to congratulate. You must be from the countryside. Don't you know that the Scorpion tribe has been exterminated? Hee, I forgot that it is now one of the top 9 tribes. The surrounding disciples discussed in low voices. Whoosh! Soon, two more figures appeared. These two were a middle-aged man and a middle-aged woman. The man was tall and burly, and the woman was still charming. They came hand in hand, and the pattern on their chests was a lifelike divine python. The leader and high priest of the divine python tribe are also here. This ceremony is really grand. Yes, from today onwards, Ancestor Mu will be a well-known figure in the Central Divine Kingdom. Countless people sighed in their hearts. Thinking back, when Ancestor Mu first entered the Pill Pagoda, who would have thought that there would be such a day? Next, the leaders and high priests of the other top tribes also arrived one after another. Everyone's cultivation was unfathomable. And in addition to the top 9 tribes, the pavilion master of the trading pavilion also came. In short, although there were not many people who came this time, they were all existences standing at the top of the pyramid of the Forgotten Continent. I believe that the master of the head pagoda will be very pleased that everyone is able to come as promised. On behalf of the master of the head pagoda, I would also like to sincerely thank everyone who came from afar. Gongsun Bei smiled, and then bowed to everyone. Brother Gongsun is too polite. Although we are not from the head pagoda, we have always been grateful to the head pagoda. Yes, if the Forgotten Continent did not have the protection of the head pagoda, there would not be tribes like us, and we would not be able to live such a comfortable life. The big shots stood up and smiled. However, as long as one was not a fool, one could tell that these were just polite words. Of course, Gongsun Bei also could not break this layer of membrane. He smiled and said, "Everyone please take a seat. Come serve tea to the lords." Soon, more than a dozen deacon elders came out, carrying teapots and teacups, and sent them to the big shots. The big shots also drank tea while chatting in private. Another half an hour passed. Whoosh! Suddenly, a burst of ear-piercing sound broke through the air. Following closely, one figure after another landed on the square. There were men and women, old and young, and their auras were all extremely powerful. Hanging from their waists was a pure gold medallion. That's right. They were all divine envoys, and there were hundreds of them. As soon as these divine envoys arrived, the square immediately fell silent. Seeing Qin Feiyang looking at them, the chief and high priest of the divine python tribe nodded at Qin Feiyang with a smile to show their friendliness. However, the two of them were also quite puzzled. There were so many people present. Why were they looking at the two of them? Ahem. Seeing this, Gongsun Bei on the high platform clenched his fist and coughed dryly. Qin Feiyang quivered, and quickly retracted his gaze. He strode to the bottom of the high platform and bowed. Disciple Muzu greets Lord Chief Pagoda Master and Seniors. Yes. Everyone nodded. Gongsun Bei smiled and asked, "Do you know what day it is today?" "Please tell me," Qin Feiyang said. "Today is the day the Chief Tower Master accepts you as his disciple. This ceremony is specially prepared for you, but you hid in the alchemy room to cultivate, and made everyone wait for so long." Gongsun Bei said unhappily. Qin Feiyang was startled. Soon after, he smiled bitterly and said, "So that's how it is. This matter is indeed due to this disciple's negligence. I hope that Lord Chief Pagoda Master and Seniors can forgive me." "It's okay. Don't listen to Gongsun Bei's nonsense. We just arrived." The Chief Tower Master smiled. "I say, sir, can you not ruin my plans?" Gongsun Bei looked helplessly at the Chief Tower Master, and then at Qin Feiyang. "Let me introduce you." He pointed at the leaders of the 9 tribes and said, "They are the leaders and high priests of the 9 super tribes. They are here to congratulate you." Qin Feiyang looked at those people and said, "Thank you, seniors." The leaders of the 9 tribes also showed a faint smile on their faces. "And this is the Tower Master of the Trading Pavilion." Gongsun Bei pointed at an old man in white. The old man was skinny, and had white hair and a white beard. He held a cane and looked very weak, but the aura he emitted was extremely terrifying. Qin Feiyang looked at the old man and said, "Greetings, Tower Master. Today is a big day for my little friend. No need to be so polite. I'm also indebted to the Chief Tower Master for inviting this old man to participate in the ceremony. Thus, this old man has prepared a small gift. I hope you don't mind." The old man chuckled. With that, the old man stood up and waved his hand. A stream of light flew toward Qin Feiyang. "What is it?" "The Tower Master must have some amazing treasure." Everyone stared at the stream of light. "There's a gift." Qin Feiyang was quite surprised and couldn't help but look forward to it. Swish! Finally, the stream of light stopped in front of Qin Feiyang, and revealed its true appearance. It turned out to be a cauldron. The cauldron was copper in color and glowed. There were 2 fire phoenixes on it, flapping their wings, and looking very lifelike. Such a blazing treasure light. It must be at least a grade 6 cauldron. Everyone was moved, and their eyes were burning. The old man smiled and said, "This cauldron is called the Fire Phoenix Cauldron. It is a grade 7 cauldron. Please accept it." "What? A grade 7 cauldron?" The scene was in an uproar. Even the leaders and high priests of the 9 super tribes couldn't help but be moved. The so-called gift was actually a grade 7 cauldron. This old man was really generous. Qin Feiyang was also a little excited. He was worried that he couldn't find a grade 7 cauldron. He didn't expect that someone would give it to him now. Senior, thank you for your gift. If you need my help in the future, please don't hesitate to tell me. Qin Feiyang bowed and said. The old man chuckled, returned to his seat and fell silent. Qin Feiyang immediately put away the fire phoenix cauldron. At this time, the leader of the divine python tribe stood up. With a clang, a cluster of elixir fire appeared. Little brother, our divine python tribe is not as rich as the trading tower. This is a grade 6 cauldron fire. Please don't mind it. As soon as he finished speaking, the leader of the divine python tribe waved his hand, and the elixir fire flew to Qin Feiyang. Thank you, senior. Qin Feiyang bowed and thanked him. The grade 6 cauldron fire was indeed of no value to him, but it was better than nothing, right? Moreover, the grade 6 cauldron fire was also a rare treasure of heaven and earth. Even if he didn't need it, he could give it away, or exchange it for a large amount of wealth. Next, the leaders of the other super tribes also presented congratulatory gifts. There were precious medicinal herbs. There were superior battle arts. There were weapons that could cut iron like mud. There were grade 5 cauldron fires. Compared to the trading tower and the divine python tribe, these gifts were much inferior. But Qin Feiyang still accepted them one by one. After all, this was a token of goodwill from others. If he refused in public, not only would it embarrass others, but it would also show that he didn't know how to behave. After receiving the gifts, Gongsun smiled and said, Now the apprenticeship ceremony begins. Please keep quiet. Wait. At this moment, a heavenly voice sounded. Following closely, in the distant void, a pale golden figure broke through the air like lightning. Who is she? Everyone looked at the golden figure suspiciously. It's her. But there was a trace of excitement in young Master Hao's eyes, because the person who came was the young lady of the Dragon Phoenix house. Qin Feiyang also recognized her voice, and there was a trace of doubt on his face. Whoosh! After a few breaths, the woman landed on the square and slowly walked towards the high platform. She had an exquisite figure and wore a pale golden floor-length dress. Her entire person looked incomparably luxurious. But on her face, there was also a pale golden veil covering her true face. Only a pair of ethereal eyes could be seen. And those eyes were crystal clear like black gemstones, without the slightest impurity. Greetings to the Chief Tower Master. I came uninvited. I hope the Chief Tower Master will forgive me. The woman stood beside Qin Feiyang and bowed respectfully to the head pagoda master. The Chief Tower Master looked at the woman suspiciously and smiled. All visitors are guests. Prepare a seat. A deacon elder immediately stepped forward, took out a seat from his Qingquan bag, and placed it next to the pavilion master of the trading tower. Thank you. The woman smiled and then looked at Qin Feiyang. She took out a jade box from her bosom and handed it to Qin Feiyang. She smiled faintly and said, Young Master Mu, this is a small gift I prepared. I hope you will accept it. Qin Feiyang took it in his hand suspiciously. He opened the jade box and saw a jade slip inside. Qin Feiyang took out the jade slip and immersed his mind into it. Immediately, his eyes trembled. This was a perfect battle art. Whoosh! Qin Feiyang took a deep breath and put away the jade box and jade slip. He cupped his hands and smiled. Thank you, young master. The woman smiled, turned around and walked to the front of the seat. She nodded to the pavilion master and sat there elegantly and quietly. And young Master Hao's gaze was always on her. The Chief Tower Master frowned and said, How or behave yourself? Got it. Young Master Hao glanced at him impatiently and then looked at the woman again. The adoration on his face was not concealed at all. Gongsun Bei also looked at the woman and then smiled. Then let the ceremony begin. As soon as he finished speaking, a deacon elder walked out with an exquisite tray with a cup of tea on it. The fragrance of the tea spread as he walked to Qin Feiyang. Ancestor Mu, there are 3 steps to the apprenticeship ceremony. The first step is to bow. The second step is to serve tea. The third step is to accept the Chief Tower Master's test. After completing these 3 steps, you will officially become the Chief Tower Master's personal disciple. Gongsun Bei smiled. Qin Feiyang nodded and bowed 3 times to the chief tower master. Then he walked to the high platform with the teacup. I won't let you do as you wish. At the same time, somewhere in the crowd stood a young man in purple. He looked at Qin Feiyang with eyes full of killing intent. It was Wu Jian. Then. Chapter 968. In an instant, everyone looked at Wu Jian. Qin Feiyang also raised his eyebrows, stopped, and turned to look at Wu Jian, his eyes flashing with a fierce light. It was not easy to get to this point. If he failed because of this person, he would never let this person go. Wu Jian, what are you doing? On the high platform, a purple-clothed woman frowned. She was Wang Yuer's mother, the Holy Tower Master, and Wu Jian's master. Wu Jian bowed and said, Master, disciple has something to say. The purple-clothed woman said angrily, Can't you wait until the ceremony is over? As an existence second only to the chief tower master, she naturally knew Qin Feiyang's situation very well. Not only was he highly valued by her father, Wang Su, but he also had a very good relationship with young Master Hao. The most important thing was that the chief tower master also liked this child very much. So Wu Jian suddenly jumped out to stop them, which would definitely cause these people to be dissatisfied. Sure enough, whether it was Wang Su or young Master Hao, they all frowned. Wu Jian said, Master, it's too late to say these words now. You, the purple-clothed woman, was furious. Let him speak. At this moment, the chief tower master spoke, looking a little displeased. Yes, the purple-clothed woman respectfully responded, looked at Wu Jian and said, Hurry up and say it, then leave. Wu Jian glanced at Qin Feiyang, then looked at the chief tower master and the others and said, Disciple thinks that Ancestor Mu is not worthy to be the chief tower master's disciple. Nonsense. Go back to the Holy Land. The purple-clothed woman suddenly stood up and shouted angrily. Others might not know, but she knew that Qin Feiyang had obtained the inheritance of the first chief tower master, and was the next chief tower master candidate. And he had an appointment with the chief tower master. If he was not worthy, who was? But in the face of the purple-clothed woman's rebuke, Wu Jian was not afraid and said, Master Lords, disciple admits that Ancestor Mu's talent is indeed amazing, but what about his strength? The chief tower master and the others looked at each other, then looked at Wu Jian again, waiting for him to continue. Wu Jian said, Disciple went to see him last night, and felt that his strength was not very good. Are you strong? A disdainful voice sounded from the crowd. It was Fatso, but as soon as Fatso spoke, a portion of the surrounding disciples immediately looked at him strangely. What is it? Am I wrong? Fatso frowned. Of course you're wrong. And it's a grave mistake. Do you know who he is? His name is Wu Jian, one of the 3 kings of the Holy Tower. It is said that he is about to break through to the combat emperor realm. Do you think he's strong? A few disciples said disdainfully. I'll go. Fatso was dumbfounded. Wasn't this too terrifying? In the meantime, Wu Jian looked at Fatso with disdain, then looked at Qin Feiyang and said, If you don't agree with what I said, you can have a one-on-one duel with me. Duel? Everyone was stunned. This was a little too much. One was a 1-star battle saint, while the other was a 9-star battle saint. There was simply no comparison. Have you had enough? If you're done, then go back. The purple-clothed woman was on the verge of exploding in anger. Wu Jian's current actions were undoubtedly embarrassing her. And Wu Jian seemed to have long expected that everyone would have such a reaction. He looked at Qin Feiyang with contempt and said, Of course I won't bully you. I will suppress my cultivation to the same level as yours. If you still don't dare to accept my challenge, then I can only say that you are really a piece of trash. Seeing that Wu Jian was becoming more and more unscrupulous, the purple-clothed woman clenched her fists and was about to flip out. Actually, I feel that this battle needs to continue. After all, to become the chief pagoda master's disciple, one must have extraordinary means. Suddenly, a faint laughter sounded in the square. The person who spoke was the leader of the Qilin tribe. He was also Wu Jian's father. Although he didn't know why Wu Jian did this as a father, he had to fully support his son. Seriously thinking about it, what Brother Wu said does make sense. Talent is important, But if you don't have powerful strength, it's useless. Another leader of a super tribe chimed in. Gongsun Bei looked at the chief pagoda master. The chief pagoda master pondered for a while, glanced at Wu Jian, then looked at Qin Feiyang and said, "Since someone doubts your ability, then you might as well prove it to them." "Yes." Qin Feiyang bowed and replied, "Give me the teacup." Gongsun Bei stepped forward and said with a smile. Qin Feiyang handed it over. Gongsun Bei took the teacup and retreated to the side. At the same time, Fatso anxiously transmitted his voice. "Boss, you can't just casually attack. What if he got injured and exposed the purple gold dragon blood?" "I know. I won't give him a chance to fight back," Qin Feiyang secretly replied, and a trace of murderous intent flashed in the depths of his eyes. Wu Jian also sneered. Whoosh! The two rushed into the sky almost at the same time, standing in the air. At the same time, Mu Qing stood at the back of the crowd in a low-key manner. She raised her head and looked at Qin Feiyang, her eyes sparkling. Suddenly, he lowered his head and glanced at the chief pagoda master and others on the high platform, then opened the portal and appeared over a mountain outside the city, and immediately took out the image crystal. Buzz! The next moment, a middle-aged man materialized. Mu Qing said, "Father, let's act immediately." Act. Mu Jia's lord was stunned. His face was full of puzzlement. Mu Qing said, "Grab the scorching star flame." When Mu Jia's lord heard this, his face was full of surprise. He asked, "Aren't we going to wait for Qin Feiyang?" "We're not waiting. I know Qin Feiyang too well. If we really wait for him to grab the scorching star flame, he will definitely not give it to us. And at the beginning, when we cooperated with him, we also said that when he grabbed the scorching star flame, we would exchange it with the fire qilin. Father, are you willing to give him the fire qilin?" Mu Qing said. "Of course not." Mu Jia's lord said without hesitation. "The fire qilin is a mythological beast, and it's still a mythological beast standing at the top of the pyramid. In the future, it will become the strongest support of the Mu Jia. So it's better for us to do it ourselves. And now, the big shots of the chief pagoda are in the Pill Pagoda Square. This is undoubtedly an excellent opportunity." Mu Qing said. Mu Jia's lord hesitated, because he has already figured out the background of the chief pagoda. In addition to the chief pagoda, there are 3 terrifying existences in the land of inheritance. "Father, we can't hesitate anymore. As long as we do it quickly, no one will find out it's us. And when we do it, let someone disguise themselves as Qin Feiyang and go to the chief pagoda. At that time, the chief pagoda will naturally think that it's Qin Feiyang who took the scorching star flame." Mu Qing said, "Okay, I'll arrange it right away." Hearing this, Mu Jia's lord nodded fiercely, and the shadow dissipated. "Qin Feiyang, this time you finally lost to me." Mu Qing sneered, opened the portal again, and returned to the Pill Pagoda Square. Everyone's attention is now on Qin Feiyang and Wu Jian, so no one noticed that he had left. In the blink of an eye, Gongsun Bei glanced at Qin Feiyang and Wu Jian and said, "Let's begin." Boom! Wu Jian's aura suddenly erupted, and the holy aura swept in all directions. Following closely, his aura continued to fall. Soon, he suppressed his cultivation to the level of a 1-star battle saint. You say, if you lose here, will the chief pagoda master still accept you as a disciple? He was not in a hurry to make a move, and secretly transmitted his voice to Qin Feiyang, with a thick playfulness. "So confident? Then you'd better go all out, or else you may be the one to lose face." Qin Feiyang said lightly. Back then, he could even defeat the emperor, let alone this clown in front of him. However, he did not dare to be too careless, because right now, he had many methods that he could not use. For example, Battle Soul Battle Art. Even the Divine Dragon Secret Art might expose his identity, because the Divine Dragon Secret Art was the most powerful divine art of his ancestor, and it might have been used in the Forgotten Continent. And once it was used, someone would definitely know. Of course, it could also be that he was being paranoid. Chapter 969. Boom! Finally, Wu Jian flew in front of Qin Feiyang. "Are you afraid? If not, why aren't you moving?" "But it's too late to be afraid now. This is the consequence of going against me. Qilin Battle Fist. He sneered inwardly as he threw a punch at Qin Feiyang. The shadow of a fire Qilin roared out from Wu Jian's fist, exuding an aura that could destroy the world. This was also a perfect battle technique. The consequence of going against you. Qin Feiyang was silent, but his eyes were full of mockery. He really didn't know where this person found the confidence to say such words. The Qilin Battle Fist whistled. That powerful aura was earth-shattering, and even the void was trembling and distorting violently. It was also at this moment that Qin Feiyang moved. He suddenly raised his clenched hands, and two dazzling golden lights bloomed. Puff! Boom! Wu Jian was blasted away on the spot, spitting out blood, and his face was full of disbelief. Everything happened too suddenly, too quickly, and the people below did not know what was going on. But Wu Jian felt it deeply. Just as Qin Feiyang raised his hand, his Qilin Battle Fist actually changed sides and pounced back at him, giving oneself a taste of their own medicine. What kind of battle art was this? Whoosh! Qin Feiyang's attack succeeded, and he instantly caught up and stood behind Wu Jian. Your biggest mistake is to suppress your cultivation to challenge me. Now, I'll send you to the afterlife. Qin Feiyang's eyes flashed with killing intent, and before Wu Jian could react, his right hand was like a blade, sinking into Wu Jian's back and grabbing Wu Jian's heart. No! That fatal crisis made Wu Jian tremble, and he hurriedly yelled. At the same time, the suppressed cultivation base also burst out. However, just before his aura erupted, Qin Feiyang smiled coldly, and his 5 fingers suddenly contracted, crushing Wu Jian's heart on the spot. Ah! A shrill scream resounded through the sky. At the same time, these screams also impacted everyone's eardrums and shocked everyone's hearts. Wu Jian is dead? He was insta-killed. When everyone saw the scene, they were dumbfounded. The shock in their hearts could not be calmed down for a long time. The chief pagoda master and the others were also extremely shocked. The entire process of Qin Feiyang's attack happened in the blink of an eye. They couldn't stop it even if they wanted to. It was too fast. None of them had expected Qin Feiyang's methods to be so swift and terrifying. Furthermore, he did not expect that he would kill Wu Jian directly. Alright. The fatty in the crowd was also shocked. However, when he came back to his senses, it was as if he had been injected with chicken blood. He roared excitedly in his heart. In front of countless big shots, and even in front of the Qilin tribe's chief, he mercilessly killed Wu Jian. Gongsun Bei nodded. Then he looked at the leaders of the various tribes and the surrounding disciples and said, I believe everyone is wondering why the Chief Tower Master said this. Actually, Lord Chief Pagoda Master gave Ancestor Mu a huge test long ago. This test was that as long as Ancestor Mu could break through to the Battle Saint realm in 2 years, the Chief Tower Master would accept him as a disciple. And the result was that Ancestor Mu used less than a month to break through to the Battle Saint realm. Gongsun Bei said. So that's how it is. Everyone suddenly understood. It turned out that Ancestor Mu had already been decided, and this ceremony was just a formality. Everyone could not help but look at Wu Jian with sympathy. If Wu Jian was still alive and heard Gongsun Bei's words, he would probably vomit blood from anger. Seeing that situation, the leader of the Qilin tribe gloomily looked at Qin Feiyang, opened the teleportation gate, hugged Wu Jian, and without even saying goodbye, left without even looking back. The high priest of the Qilin tribe also hurriedly followed. Serves him right. The leaders and high priests of the other super tribes watched the portal disappear, with a trace of schadenfreude in their eyes. If the Qilin tribe leader had come out to stop Wu Jian when he was causing trouble, Wu Jian would not have lost his life. Unfortunately, as a father, not only did he not stop it, he even supported it. Therefore, the Qilin tribe leader was partly responsible for Wu Jian's death. Gongsun Bei, and the others on the high platform, did not have much of a reaction to the two's departure. Suddenly, the Chief Tower Master stood up. Everyone thought that he was going to leave, and was about to bow to see him off. But he did not. The Chief Tower Master glanced at everyone present, and said with a smile, There is one more thing that I want to announce personally here. Announce personally? Looks like it must be something big. Everyone murmured secretly. The chief tower master looked at Qin Feiyang, and then at Wang Yuer and said, I believe everyone has already heard about the matter between Ancestor Mu and Wang Yuer. Everyone nodded. Chapter 970. Last night, Elder Wang came to find me late at night to discuss how to solve this matter. After all, Wang Yuer is a girl. If such a thing happens, if it is not solved in time, it will definitely affect her reputation. And after our discussion, we finally thought of a way to have the best of both worlds. The chief pagoda master laughed. Best of both worlds. Qin Feiyang was taken aback, his eyes full of expectation. This was the problem that he had the most headache about now. If there was really a way to have the best of both worlds, it would undoubtedly be a great help to him. Sister, do you know what the way is? Young Master Hao secretly asked. I was just about to ask you. Wang Yuer whispered. Young Master Hao was stunned. Wang Yuer didn't know either. He looked at the chief pagoda master and Wang Su. What method did these two old guys come up with? At the same time, the chief pagoda master turned to look at Wang Su and transmitted his voice. Elder Wang, before I say it, think about it again. It's not too late to regret now. Elder Wang said. At this point there's nothing to think about, say it. Okay. The chief pagoda master nodded and faced the crowd again, saying, After my discussion with Elder Wang, we finally decided that since the two of them are in love with each other, it's better to fulfill their wish. Now, I will personally grant them a marriage. What the hell? Qin Feiyang was stunned. He never thought that the two of them would come up with such a method. Grant a marriage? Wasn't this too ridiculous? Young Master Hao was also stunned. Wang Yuer looked at the chief pagoda master, and Wang Su dumbfounded. The crowd around also became restless. Everyone's eyes were filled with envy and jealousy. He had just become the chief pagoda master's personal disciple, and he was immediately granted a marriage. And it was Elder Wang's granddaughter. This guy was way too lucky. In the future, who would dare to offend him in the chief pagoda? The chief pagoda master looked at Qin Feiyang and Wang Yuer and said with a smile, You two have no objections, right? Yes. The two spoke almost at the same time. The chief pagoda master frowned. Wang Su, the purple-clothed woman, and the purple-clothed man also raised their eyebrows without a trace. At the same time, Wang Yuer looked at Qin Feiyang and said angrily, It's a blessing that I can marry you. What can you say? Thank you, but I can't afford to enjoy this blessing. Qin Feiyang said lightly. Bastard, don't go too far. Wang Yuer gritted her teeth. I'm going too far? Let me tell you, I don't want to argue with you. Otherwise, you'll be even more embarrassed. Qin Feiyang said. You. Wang Yuer was so angry that her body trembled. She looked at Chief Pagoda Master and Wang Su and said, I don't agree. Don't mess around. Wang Su shouted. Grandpa, this is my personal matter. What right do you have to decide for me? Chapter 971. At the same time, Gong Sun Bei's face darkened, and he shouted, Seal the main tower immediately, don't let anyone suspicious go. Whoosh! Hundreds of divine envoys, law-enforcing elders, deacon elders, 10 peak masters, and 10 pagoda masters all rushed into the sky and flew in all directions, searching thoroughly. The scene was also chaotic. No one would have thought that someone would sneak into the main tower at this time and steal the heavenly dipper flame. Gong Sun Bei looked at the people of the super tribes and cupped his hands. Everyone, this is an emergency, so I won't see you off. It's okay. Catching the thief is more important. The leader of a super tribe said. See you again. Gong Sun Bei cupped his hands and said, then looked at Qin Feiyang, young Master Hao, and Wang Yuer and warned, You guys be careful too. After saying that, he opened the portal and left. Who is so bold to enter our main tower to steal? Young Master Hao frowned. The most important thing is that this person can erase my mother's blood contract. He must be very strong. Wang Yuer said in a deep voice. What's your mother's cultivation? Qin Feiyang asked. 8-star War Emperor. Wang Yuer said. So strong. Qin Feiyang was stunned, and then immediately scanned the crowd around him. When he first came to the Pill Pagoda Square, he had already noticed Mu Qing in the crowd. And only the Mu family would steal the heavenly dipper flame. The crowd around him was very chaotic. Everyone was talking at once, and the noise was earth-shattering. Soon, Qin Feiyang found Mu Qing in the crowd. At the same time, Mu Qing was also looking at Qin Feiyang. "It's you." Qin Feiyang transmitted his voice. "What is me?" Mu Qing responded suspiciously. Qin Feiyang sneered. "Stop pretending, other than your Mu family. Who else dares to enter the main tower?" Hee. Mu Qing smiled secretly and said, "I knew I couldn't hide it from you. That's right. I asked someone to steal it." Qin Feiyang clenched his fists, and his gloomy eyes were extremely frightening. As soon as Mu Qing admitted it, he had a rough idea. They must have taken advantage of the fact that no one was guarding the sacred ground to let a powerhouse of the Mu clan sneak into the main tower and steal the heavenly star flame. In other words, Mu Qing had used him as bait to attract the attention of all the tycoons. In fact, this was a good thing for him, because from now on, he could focus on seizing the 5-colored crystal and wouldn't have to waste his energy on seizing the heavenly star flame. But this was also bad news. That was the fire qilin. If the heavenly star flame falls into the hands of the Mu Jia, it means that he has lost his bargaining chip to exchange for the fire qilin. The most important thing is that now that his value is gone, the Mu family is likely to announce his true identity. At that time, he would definitely be consigned to eternal damnation. Mu Qing smiled and said, "You don't have to be nervous because I won't reveal your identity for now." Qin Feiyang was secretly shocked. Could it be that, as he thought before, he still has other value? Mu Qing said again, "As for the fire qilin, you can also use the heavenly thunder flame, heavenly star flame, and ice flame to exchange for it." "Are you dreaming?" Qin Feiyang sneered. If he really gave these 3 flames to Mu Qing, then he really had no bargaining chips in his hand. Not to mention, he must go to the miracle. "I knew you wouldn't agree, but it doesn't matter. After all, we are still partners. And now that the heavenly star flame is in our hands, we don't need to stay in the main tower anymore. Why don't you come with me to visit the Mu clan?" Mu Qing said with a smile. "Not interested." Qin Feiyang responded faintly. To be honest, he really wanted to go to the Mu clan, because in this way, he would know where the Mu clan's nest was. But he knew that the Mu clan was a dragon's pool and tiger's den. Once he went in, he was afraid that he wouldn't be able to come out. "That's a pity. But I won't force you. When you want to go, just send me a message. In addition, you have to be careful. If one day your identity is exposed, no one will come to help you." Mu Qing jokingly smiled, took out a portal, and said with a hint of threat. Qin Feiyang's eyes darkened. But then, he seemed to think of something, and a smile appeared on his face. He said, "I will be careful, and you Mu clan better be careful." "What should we be careful of?" Mu Qing looked at him playfully. "Don't be so confident. I have something in your hands, and you also have something in my hands. For example, if the people in the main tower know that Lu Xingfeng is your second grandpa, how will the main tower respond?" Qin Feiyang said. Mu Qing's eyes narrowed slightly, took a deep look at Qin Feiyang, and then opened the portal and left. Qin Feiyang also secretly breathed a sigh of relief. No matter what, at least now it was not completely out of control. At this time, young Master Hao said, "Let's also go to the Holy Land to have a look." Wang Yue nodded. Qin Feiyang said, "You guys go first. What are you doing?" Young Master Hao looked at him in confusion. Qin Feiyang said, "I have something to deal with." "Mysterious, it must be something that can't be exposed." Wang Yue snorted coldly. Young Master Hao's face twitched, and he teased, "Sister, now he is your fiancé. Isn't it inappropriate to say that?" "Brat, I think you are asking for a beating." Wang Yue's face darkened, and she immediately pounced on young Master Hao fiercely. "What? You still want to go back on your word? Impossible, the marriage contract is already here. Just accept your fate." "Haha." Young Master Hao fled while laughing heartily. Wang Yue, who was behind him, was furious. "Fiancé," Qin Feiyang muttered, feeling bitter in his heart. He never thought that he would have a fiancé just because of a farce. If it were someone else, they would be overjoyed to encounter such a thing. But he really couldn't feel happy. Phew. Qin Feiyang took a deep breath and looked up at the chief, and high priest of the divine python tribe. Brother Mu, congratulations. Brother Mu, please take care of us in the future. The people of the major tribes didn't leave, and they went up to Qin Feiyang to flatter him. Seniors, you are too polite. The one who needs to take care of in the future is me. Qin Feiyang smiled politely. You are neither arrogant nor rash. You are a talent. Everyone nodded. Qin Feiyang jumped off the high platform, walked to the chief and high priest of the divine python tribe, and said with a smile, Seniors, I would like to have a private chat with you. Can you do me the honor? Private chat? All the leaders were dumbfounded. The chief and high priest of the divine python tribe were also suspicious. Of course. The chief of the divine python tribe nodded. Please come with me. Qin Feiyang opened the portal and walked in first. The chief and high priest of the divine python tribe looked at each other and followed one after another. The other chiefs and high priests of the major tribes looked at each other. What was going on? At first, they wanted to curry favor with Qin Feiyang. After all, his status was not ordinary now. But they didn't expect that Qin Feiyang would leave with the two people of the divine python tribe. Do you think that Ancestor Mu and the divine python tribe have some relationship? One of the chiefs of the major tribes asked secretly. But when they heard this question, no one answered. They all fell into deep thought. Because if that was the case, the divine python tribe would undoubtedly have a strong and powerful backer. And the other tribes would be in a bad situation. First tower, Alchemy Room 10. Qin Feiyang walked into the lounge, pointed to the chair next to him, and said with a smile, Seniors, please have a seat. The two of them sat down one after another. The chief of the divine python tribe said with a smile, Little brother, if you have something to say, just say it. Qin Feiyang looked at the pattern of the divine python on their chests again and said, Is there a man called Pei Zhangfeng in your tribe? The two of them hadn't sat down for long. Hearing this, they both stood up and looked at Qin Feiyang with surprise and doubt. Qin Feiyang had an answer in his heart. When he entered the square of the Pill Pagoda, he found that the pattern of the divine python on their chests was exactly the same as the pattern on Pei Zhangfeng's identity token. At that time, he thought that Pei Zhangfeng might be a member of the divine python tribe. But there were too many people at that time, so it was inconvenient to ask. But now, the reaction of the two of them undoubtedly confirmed his guess. But at this moment the Grand Elder's eyes flashed. He stretched out his hand and said, Sirs, please wait. What is it? Qin Feiyang stopped and turned his head to look at the Grand Elder in confusion. The Great Clan Elder took out a recording crystal and said, I still have a recording from that year. It should be useful to you. Recording? Qin Feiyang and the Grand Elder looked at each other. Fatso was surprised and asked, What recording? The Grand Elder said, It's the recording of Pei Zhangfeng and that person fighting. It also recorded their complete conversation. The two of them were stunned. With the recording, wasn't it equivalent to irrefutable evidence? Qin Feiyang immediately took out the recording crystal and said with a smile, Well done, quickly send it to me. However, the Grand Elder did not immediately send it to Qin Feiyang, as if he had something to say, but did not dare to say it. Qin Feiyang looked at him suspiciously, but soon understood that this person obviously wanted to get some benefits. He said, Fatso, give them some body-tempering pills. Body-tempering pills? The Grand Elder frowned. Who didn't have body-tempering pills? This is not an ordinary body-tempering pill. Fatso coldly snorted and waved his hand. Accompanied by a dazzling light, hundreds of pills appeared on the ground in front of the Grand Elder. These pills basically all had 4 pill patterns. And there were even some that had 5 pill patterns. The Grand Elder was stunned. The people of the Black Lion tribe were also dumbfounded. The eyes of those youths were filled with desire. Although the body-tempering pills were very ordinary and cheap, body-tempering pills with pill patterns were rare. Especially with so many pill patterns. As everyone knew, the more pill patterns there were, the better the effect. And these 4 and 5 pill patterns body-tempering pills, It was no exaggeration to say that just one pill was enough to let a newcomer lay a solid foundation. Therefore, to the youths of the Black Lion tribe, these body-tempering pills were more precious than any high-grade pills. However, when the Grand Elder of the Black Lion tribe came back to his senses, he was still not very satisfied. Don't be too greedy, or else don't talk about benefits. Your lives might not even be saved. Qin Feiyang lightly said. The Grand Elder's eyes trembled. For a moment, he was blinded by greed, and forgot that the person in front of him was a battle sage. He did not dare to hesitate any longer, and hurriedly established a contract with Qin Feiyang. Then, he sent the video to Qin Feiyang. Qin Feiyang did not stay any longer, and brought Fatso back to the place where Pei Changfeng was buried. Pei Yi had calmed down a lot, and stood silently in front of the ice sculpture, his tears dry. Qin Feiyang walked over and patted Pei Yi on the shoulder, saying, "It's getting late, we should go back." "Okay,